Hello there, lovely people, it's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today we're going to have a look at another contender that tries to usurp, or at least compete with, the old Pro Controller for the Switch. And it looks a little something like this. Yes, this is a new attempt, a new product, if you like, from the excellent 8Bitdo, and as you can no doubt tell, it's fashioned on the old SNES controller. And it comes in two delicious flavors. You've got the SF30 Pro, which is like the Super Famicom controller or European SNES controller, if you're like me, and it also comes in, of course, Parma Violet, North American style, which is called the SN30 Pro. And for the few people that are wondering, yes, it does come with lovely concave X and Y buttons. I know for some people that's very important, so it's a good detail to add. Unlike a lot of the Pro Controller alternatives that we've already looked at on the channel, this one really is the business. It has everything in it except HD rumble and NFC. Apart from that, it's got the whole thing. It's even got motion, and the motion's great. Buttons-wise, it's got the whole thing. It's even got a home button and even a screenshot button, which really does just look like a little something that's been molded into the plastic, but it is definitely a button. Let me click it to let you hear. You probably couldn't hear that. I've been using this puppy for a while now, and it's pretty clear that they designed this primarily to be a Switch controller. It also works on things like Android and Windows and stuff like that, and I think it even works on Mac, so that should keep me happy. But at the same time, it's very much a Switch-focused machine because of the whole, you know, sort of additional buttons and gyro controls and stuff like that. It's clearly trying to do an old Pro Controller on us. But the most important thing, how is it to use? Well, the focus here is, of course, on the D-pad, and if you're going to be playing a lot of games like Shovel Knight or other games like maybe, you know, sort of Puyo Puyo Tetris, this is honestly, it's a lovely, lovely D-pad. It feels absolutely exactly like a SNES D-pad, only if anything, it's almost marginally more accurate. It's a little bit refined, as you would expect over the years, and just generally, yeah, it's a really, really lovely D-pad to use. I can't fault it. Buttons feel just like a SNES as well, to be honest. I mean, all the buttons really feel just like a SNES, except for, of course, the additional buttons and the shoulder buttons. The shoulder buttons are quite a bit different, because there's, well, 4 of them. As for the analog sticks, well, they're in a bit of a weird place for me personally, because I've never really had a PlayStation, so I'm expecting them to be up here, but nevertheless, you know, sort of it's styled after the SNES controller and stuff, and so, you know, you'll pick it up. I managed to, and I'm me. And it doesn't matter anyway, because they are brilliant sticks. They're really responsive. It's very difficult to show you how a stick is good, but just trust me when I say it's good, really responsive, snappy. Not too snappy though. It's important. Build quality is exactly what you'd expect when it comes to 8Bitdo. It's built like a sodding brick. Seriously, I think you are never going to break this controller through normal use. It really is hard as arses. However, as lovely as it is not perfect, and there are a couple of problems that I have with it that aren't major, but at the same time really do need to be addressed. The first one is the rumble. Now, probably because this is quite a shallow unit, the rumble motors in here for some reason are really loud. Now, this might just be a personal thing for me, but I did test both controllers that they sent me, and they both sounded as loud as each other. But one of my colleagues, who also managed to get his hands on these, said that it wasn't a problem at all for him, so maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just sensitive to rumble sounds. For most games, it's not going to be a problem, because the rumble isn't going to go off all the bloody time, but for things like Super Mario Odyssey, I really started to get annoyed, to be honest with you, so I really would prefer an option to be able to turn the rumble off. The other issue that I have is arguably far, far more important, but I'm sure it could be patched up in a firmware update, because they've done that with their previous controllers. Yes, like other 8Bitdo controllers, if you start connecting lots of controllers to the system at once, you'll start to get input lag. I don't know what it is, I really don't, but for some reason, when you've got more than 2 controllers connected, it starts to show input lag, and that is very, very frustrating. It didn't matter what controllers were connected, but as soon as it went beyond that 2 number, you started to have issues. I'm really, really hoping they're able to fix this in a firmware update, and they managed to do it with previous controllers, so I'm cautiously optimistic, shall we say. I've just realized I don't think I mentioned the motion controls. They're really good. Honestly, I tried them and then tried a Pro Controller. I played Splatoon, and yeah, it felt exactly the same, which is the thing that I assumed was going to be worst in this. But really, it just feels like the official one. It's really impressive. So, all in all then, is this a viable alternative to the official Nintendo Switch Pro controller? I would say yes, I really would. There are the few little issues that I have with it, and to be honest, for any length of time I think maybe it's not quite comfortable enough because it doesn't have those handles, what with it being modelled over the SNES controller and stuff like that, but it's nothing I couldn't live with, and if you were desperate for a Pro controller, you could do a hell of a lot worse than this. It probably is, in my opinion, it probably is the best third-party Pro controller I've used so far. It's got an excellent D-pad, really great buttons, excellent sticks, dedicated screenshot and home button. Overall, you know, it's just brilliant, and it's built like a tank. And the icing on the cake is, it's USB-C charged, which probably isn't a big deal to anyone, but I think it's quite good. Massive thanks to 8Bitdo for sending these puppies over, and if you want to pick one up for yourself, you can check the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you snap the handles off that subscribe button and use it as a Pro controller, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thank you again for watching, bye bye.